That's what I'm saying.
Hey, everybody out there on Twitch. This is where we're at. That's what's happening. It is Thursday evening, I guess, ish. And we're here on WebDM Twitch playing Land Between Two Rivers. How's everybody out there? I hope that you're well and that your week has treated you kindly. Let's go around to each of our players here and see how they're doing. Grant, you are live from Origins, yes?
That is correct. I am here at Origins Game Fair in Columbus, Ohio, where I am running D&D for Kobold Press and enjoying the show. I've already interrupted Chris Perkins' dinner like twice. Have seen a lot of friends and have been enjoying the con.
I was hoping that you'd find a way to like rig like a lap desk across your shoulders and like a webcam in front of you and like walk around the con while you were playing.
Don't make me. I could do that. My laptop's light enough, but that would, oh man, that's a temptation now. We'll do it at some point during the game.
Right. That sounds
I'll go
good.
raid the D&D. Yeah, I can go raid the D&D room.
Yeah, let's get everybody
We'll
we
do
can on Land Between Two Rivers.
Yeah. Like there's a lot of people upstairs, but you know, Jim, here in the Land Between Two Rivers, we play under Mr. Jim. The story is kind of gnarly, but our outlook is kind of grim. I'm a lonely goblin chicken while my food is finger licking. Of all the boys, I'm the one you're picking. In Highlander, I get the quicken. I've been gone for 2 long weeks. Don't you miss these 2 fat cheeks? All the ladies getting weak. I got +2 when I'm rolling sneak. So I'm glad to be back in action. You know the goods I'm packing. All you homeboys stop your slacking. All the ducks in Glorantha start your quacking. Oof.
Bravo. Thank you, Grant.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. You had to come back. Lindy, how are you?
I'm doing super spiffy. Happy to be here and ready to play some D&D. I'm hyped to be back in Land Between Two Rivers. She's really liking this skiff we confiscated. I'm gonna use the proper terminology here, the terminology that Mur would use in the situation. And yeah, that's gonna be real interesting. We gotta save Skitterstep. That's it.
We do need to save Skitterstep because Skitterstep is the heart and soul of the group. Yeah,
he's very important. I'm really excited to play Mur. Get Skitterstep back, maybe. We'll find out.
Awesome. TK, how are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah. It feels like every week y'all are just trying to like stress Icky out. She has to go get her centipede child. But yeah, ready for that. Ready to go hunt down Gildan across the desert and get back my boy.
Yes.
Get back my boy. If Grant doesn't stop swinging that camera around, I'm gonna puke. Straight up no.
I had to look for my friend so I can watch my stuff. This is going to be great. Wait for the escalator shot.
Oh my God. All right. Good to know. Maybe not the best idea. We're glad you're here with us, DK. Anna, how are you?
Hello. I'm doing pretty good. I'm going to be playing Ellie, the human barbarian. Yes. And that's it, I guess.
There we go. That's it. We're glad you're here. And Josh, how are you?
Doing pretty good, Jim. I'm just enjoying myself. That's the best thing. Just enjoying yourself. That's what I'm doing.
Well, there you go.
Baloo. Oh, yeah, right. Baloo is looking for his long lost love in the desert.
Yes.
And Baloo maybe will find him.
Who knows? Who knows what could happen? At the before we get into the recap, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Tabletop Loot, for sponsoring us. They've got a 15% off code that you can get. Go check them out for all your dice needs. But they got other stuff, mugs and T-shirts and the like. Apparently, sometime in the future there will be gummy dice. I don't know. I saw that on Twitter earlier this week, so don't hold me to it. You'd have to ask them, but check them out. I'm going to be rolling with the Prismatic Pride today, so you guys, these are brand new, never rolled dice before, so what happens is going to happen. And if if we could step for a moment out of our modern world and into a place that's dying and all that other business. We're talking about the land between two rivers. Last week, the party attacked an outpost of the servitors. They had taken over a border fort that the Fellowship had maintained. They attacked it in a vicious battle, drove the servitors of Lang out of the border post, securing it for the drow who were traveling downriver. At the time, the players sort of searched through the outpost and did some sleuthing and found themselves in the possession of a skiff, or more specifically, a skiff with a bound air elemental in it, who was urging Myrrh to go faster and faster and faster as they zoomed across the hilly grassland on their way towards the Great Tree of Andris to meet up with the Fellowship that is there, presumably figure out what's happened in the days since they have been gone. So, it's only taken you guys like 2 hours as you're in this thing. And Myrrh can tell that there's a lot to this, to the controls. You sort of really feel that this thing is both like bucking at whatever controls or binding keep it here, but at the same time it's also just like urging you to go faster and faster, and you make it to the Tree of Andris, taking what would have been a whole day's journey in only 2 hours, and make it to the outskirts of a large tent city, very well organized, everyone in nice neat little rows. You can't really, there's sort of an energy of organized chaos to it. There's a lot of busyness, a lot of people moving to and fro, a lot of crowds gathering and moving through places very quickly. But you're on just the outskirts of it, the Great Tree of Andris in the distance beyond the camp, when you hear a shout from a crowd. Hey, that's my skiff! As you are heading inland or into the camp itself. Now, of course, everyone but Gildan is on board, and so that's where we will start.
Excellent. Do I see the source of this voice?
Yeah, there's like a little goblin who's
a goblin?
Poking his head out of a crowd and like shouting and like, "That's my skiff!" As you come by.
Does he approach, or is he just standing there yelling?
Well, how fast are y'all moving? I mean, there's crowds of people around now. It'd be dangerous to move as quickly as you could move.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not gonna move super fast.
But he's trying to run after you. He's not gonna just let you leave.
How open is this skiff?
It's open. There is a canopy that can be drawn up to like provide some shade, but not when you're moving as fast as
okay, there's no like below deck.
No.
Okay.
No, nothing like that.
And where I can take the goblin and just dispose of him. Got it. All right.
Wow.
Cool. I want this skiff, man.
Okay, what if we arrest him? Like, I mean, we are.
Yeah. Be like,
well,
yeah, that's a good plan. I'll spin her. I was like, pause. Like, this is your skiff.
Yeah, it's mine. And he's like marching up along a dusty path between two rows of tents.
So you are the owner of this skiff we've confiscated for its intrinsic arcane nature inside of Fellowship borders.
They told me I just keep it in the barn and pick it up when I left.
It was not there when we found it. No, it is.
But they said it. What happened to it?
Well, this was actually. Were you in trade down when the pyramid attacked?
Yeah.
Well, they had this skiff actually, and so we confiscated it because it was belonging to the enemy, and it is very illicit. You cannot have these types of things inside the borders. We're taking it in now.
But it wasn't inside the border when I put it in the barn. Just take it out back and give it back. Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
You think this is going to... Listen, I don't want to be that guy. But again, highly illicit. It's in the borders now, and if you are proclaiming ownership of it here, I'm one of the nicer wardens. You don't want anyone else finding out that this here, next to the Great Tree, belongs to you. Trust me.
Okay. And he like he takes the threat and sort of like looks and sees the four of you like I could never get it. How'd you get it to do that? It just floats for me. I had to have. And he points back to like two like war beasts that
that you had to have Polish.
Yeah, how'd you get it to go?
You want me to reveal arcane secrets to you? You have to know these. All right.
No. He's like backing away. I was curious. And he's like longingly looking at it and going back to the crowd of where it was. And yeah, like there was like parts on the skiff that you were like, what would this be for? Oh, perhaps for hooking up.
Okay, it makes sense now.
Mm-hmm.
I just like. Good. You should not. You should really be more careful where you leave your things laying about. If you know. But this, of course, this illicit, illegal thing would never belong to you, would it?
Oh, no.
Yes.
Okay. No.
Have a wonderful day.
Okay.
Yes. Have a wonderful day. And then, like, give him like,
speaks up. It just like freaks out. What is it?
Are you being rude?
He's like he's like easily 40 feet away from y'all now, trying to back away. So you guys are slowed down to have this exchange, and he turns his back and
at least he's still got his pack animals. That's what was getting him around anyway.
True.
It's
That's
fine.
very true.
He's not hurting.
Yeah. So you guys look out, and there is this crowded but orderly tent city of refugees from Trade Town and the southern villages. I'd like to do a bit of like getting y'all involved and helping me describe the scene and asking sort of what is it that your characters see that tells them this is sort of like this organized chaos that's going on around them.
Mur would probably take note of like strategic fellowship members placed every so often to keep order and direction and help pass out any emergency relief supplies throughout the tent city, basically. Just give it kind of like a nod to any that she recognizes.
Oh yeah, there's a few from Trade Town that you recognize who seem relieved when they see you, smiles and sort of waves at you, but they seem very busy.
I think Blue would see a lot of animals, and try to find where if there's any kind of group of them kept, like if there's any large stable compounds or something like that. So that's what he would see / look for.
Okay. Yeah, you find corrals both for small like livestock, that's kept for food or the like, as well as those. Most animals are kept for transportation. So you see it.
Are there a lot of them?
Yes, there are a lot of them.
Yeah, as in like people were organized when they left. If these people left Trade Town, versus had to flee without their animals.
Looks as though they were able to flee with their animals.
Okay.
And I guess we're keeping an eye out for Gilton and Skitterstep.
Yeah, no signs so far. How about Icky? Does Icky see something?
Icky's looking for a criminal element and also for a lot of mixed race, like being stuck together. Things by like sizes and stuff like that, because this tent city is probably going to have all of the same tent footprints like put together. So a family of goblins isn't going to take up the same as a family of bugbears. So all of the small people are shoved together. All of the medium-sized ones are shoved together. All of the larger guys are shoved together. And she's also going to look to see like what are we trading other than these metal discs that Mer loves? Like, she's going to look for people on the fringes.
It appears as though there's only a one-way trade going on between what seems like maybe fellowship members who are not asking for anything for the goods that they're handing out. That's good. I think I like that. The tents are sort of organized by size. With a very orderly arrangement. How about Ellie? Does Ellie see anything?
Yes. Seeing as one side of, I guess, where the tents are, it's all just like insects, and the other side, it's just all meats. So she sees it as organized foods.
Nice.
That's the only way she would. Somewhat organized anyway.
Somewhat organized. That's great. Yeah, you guys pass through this very orderly but crowded camp where there is... Oh, no!
I sound goops. I'm sorry.
There is this very orderly camp with the members of the fellowship sort of passing out aid, assistance, food, blankets, and the like, that's spread out just north of the Tree of Andris. Now, a bit of metagame talk real quick. I kind of, the setting of Land Between Two Rivers is post-apocalyptic, but I like that part of it is that it's a cooperative survival as opposed to the, every man for himself of, say, Mad Max or Walking Dead or something like that. That the people who live on this dying earth here have chosen cooperation as opposed to conflict. And we've seen this here in the refugee camp where as your characters sort of ride along on the skiff, you don't really see the kind of misery or suffering. I mean, there's privation, there's people having to do with less, but you see more harmony between the people that you pass as opposed to strife. And there is an energy about the place, people rushing to and fro, organization going on. It's going to take you a while just because of the crowds to get to the Great Tree, assuming that's where you're headed. Is there anything you would like to do in camp before then, or maybe just go to a different place entirely?
Blue, I think maybe might at this point be avoiding members of the fellowship. Maybe even subconsciously so, like he hadn't really thought about it. And he's not sure how he feels about the tree. He feels differently. Like it's not some great welcoming canopy like it used to be.
Yeah. At this point, the tree's still some distance away, maybe half a mile. And it is of course, a riot of green from this massive tree that overlooks the confluence of the two rivers. But yeah, Baloo doesn't feel that connection that you used to, that you drew power from. It's not there.
No. Only pain and suffering, Jim. Pain and suffering.
Yes, pain and suffering. How about everyone else?
Did you say that the tree was guarded?
There are guardians for the tree, and you can see figures moving in and around like the roots of it. It is truly massive, and like you could walk between two roots and seem like maybe the tree has an interior space you could go into, or at the very least maybe caves underneath it. But you don't see like any guards outside. You just know there are some, probably from Baloo and Myrrh.
Okay, would you say that this tree's like big and beautiful?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Ellie's gonna unintentionally stealth away from them and go to the tree.
Okay. Awesome. And how about everyone else? So Baloo's kind of avoiding the fellowship. Ellie's maybe sneaking away. How about Icky and Myrrh?
Myrrh is finalizing a form of acquisition and use and requisition of this skiff for use against the servitors, saying like, oh, we confiscated this and now we are using their own technology against them, because, you know, blah, 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 a bunch of legalese, and basically making like, yeah, this is mine now, but it's for the better good, because, you know, I'm a good person and very loyal to the fellowship.
Yes, very visibly loyal.
Yeah. Visibly loyal.
Right. There are groups of wardens who will, you know, and I mean, I guess it's really sort of, I got the impression that Myrrh was sort of a middle rank. So there are those that you just basically can say like, this is happening.
Yeah. Yeah. She's trying to climb that ladder.
Yeah.
So she's writing out the paperwork.
All right. She's taking care of that. And then how about Icky?
Icky's main priority once reaching the Great Tree is to keep an eye on Ellie. So if she fails noticing that sneak, then she's probably going to spend the rest of the time like just wandering around and kind of like keeping to herself and generally not liking this because she doesn't like anything.
All right. So Ellie's going to have advantage on that sneak roll because of the crowds.
Nice.
And any scent-based perception checks are at disadvantage because of the crowds.
Ooh. Well, that's fine. Skitterstep's not with me anymore.
Right.
It's with someone else. So let's take a look and see if I get perception. Oh.
Yeah, what was Ellie's?
It was 19.
19?
Yeah.
So I got a 22 because I'm proficient in perception.
I think you probably, then you see Ellie sneaking off at some point.
Unintentionally. She's
unintentionally.
just mesmerized by this beautiful tree. She's just like, whoa. And she just starts walking like aimlessly through the crowd.
Since Icky sees that she's not like intentionally trying to sneak away from her, she'll follow but at a distance.
In that case, let's flip the script, and I need a stealth from Icky and a perception from Ellie. Same modifiers apply.
Am I also proficient in stealth? Yes.
I got 13.
Okay, I just knocked that off the desk. That's fine. Dirty 20.
Nice. I think in that case, Ellie's probably entranced by what she sees, and Icky can shadow her quite easily.
Icky's pretty tall, so.
I mean, there's a lot of like other
like over people's heads.
There's a lot of like half ogres and what are the other? Bugbears. Thank you very much. That kind of thing. As Ellie approaches, the sort of the tree kind of like fills her vision. It sits on this rocky outcropping at the confluence of the two rivers. But the closer you get to it, the more of a sense of like how massive this tree actually is grows on you. There are figures, presumably people-sized figures, walking in and out of what appear to be multiple cave entrances that are nestled amongst the gnarled roots of it, of the tree. The rest of it is just a riot of color and texture, and there's like birds flying through the tree branches, and you can see little like actual critters, like little fuzzy like bunnies and squirrels and the like, that are there. And even in the daytime, there are these what look like fireflies flitting between blossoming flowers and the like. It's like Fern Gully and that movie Avatar and all that business. It's a magic tree as Ellie approaches.
Sorry, there's people lowing. What's the word? Okay, we're good. My bad. What are those? She's just speechless. Just going towards this tree, but she kind of keeps walking. And then she'll like crouch down and to see these little fuzzy, she doesn't know they're bunnies, but she thinks they're adorable.
Because they are.
Yeah.
They are. That's true.
And you see a woman with sort of red gold hair and a very almost golden. Her skin is literally radiant. But she wears sort of like leather and armor. She's clearly a warrior type as she approaches you. Hello, my name is Helena Highwater. May I help you?
Yes. What is this place? Also, your hair is beautiful.
Thank you. This is the Great Tree of Andris, the seat of the Fellowship's power here. She looks at you like, how in the world could you not know that? You wouldn't happen to be Ellie, would you?
But what? How do you
Stranger danger. Stranger danger.
Panic.
We heard that there were a great many who had escaped Trade Town and that you were among them.
Well, yes. Hello, my name is Ellie. She remembers that Mer taught her how to kind of be civilized, so she extends her hand as to shake it.
Okay. And she shakes your hand. And it's just, she's like looking at you very intently. Are the others with you, Mer and Baloo?
Yeah, they're... And then I turn around and I'm like, here somewhere.
I'm sure they'll turn up. And at that, you're about, you're close enough to the tree that it's like all you can see. What does Ellie do?
Can I touch it? Can I go in there?
Yes, of course. Please. And she's not barring your way or anything. She kind of just sort of seemingly appeared from behind a bush, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
She gestures towards the tree and follows along beside you. Although she does glance back in the direction of Icky.
Icky has kept her distance, just because she's like, I'm gonna let her, it's like a parent on a playground where she's like, I'll let her make some friends, and if she sees Helen glance back at her since she's looking directly at them, she'll grab whatever basket of something is by a shop and shove it in front of her face.
Nice.
Hide behind a fruit basket.
Wow.
So as Mer sort of deals with the legalese needed to operate an arcane vehicle in the land, and Icky follows Ellie as she journeys to Fern Gully, and Baloo sort of makes himself scarce and tries not to be recognized. I'd like to shift our attention real quick to a tiny goblin who only yesterday decided to strike out on his own. In the middle of battle, as everyone was attacking the outpost near the borderlands of the Fellowship, Gildan summoned his hag puppet to contribute to the fight and slinked off through the tall grasses as the chaos of battle distracted everyone else.
This is true. All right, so do you want to hear my plans?
I'd like to hear your plans. Yeah.
I'm going to the pyramid. I'm turning myself in like Luke Skywalker. I bring my lightsaber of my own construction, and it's going to look really cool when Darth Vader turns it on.
So you head straight there from the outpost?
Yeah, I essentially want to gain an audience with that Cobra Commander looking mofo that we saw earlier.
Uh-huh.
I want to figure out what these guys want to do with me. So yeah, I'm essentially heading straight there. Very forthright.
All right. Let's see here. I'm going to keep getting distracted by our backstage chat, so I'm going to turn it down real quick. Gildan has set off on his own, and you've been walking for maybe an hour or so, depending on the route that you take. Now, there's two ways to get there. Obviously, you can follow the river, or you can just like set off across the hinterlands immediately there.
All right. So essentially, my goal is just to ride Skitter Step as straight as possible.
Okay.
And as long and hard as possible.
Okay.
For that is the goblin way. Long and hard.
Yeah. You've been...
Gildan, come on.
It's all right. Gildan's been riding Gildan's been riding Skitter Step for about an hour when you hear the high-pitched whine of the flying chariots coming up from behind you.
I don't want to ride Skitter Step till he dies. I'm going to attempt to hide. Can Skitter Step burrow, or how does he normally hide himself?
Skitter Step can burrow.
Okay, so he'll burrow, and I'll try to hide goblin style. What is kind of my environment? And I'll use that to determine the best Gildan way to hide.
Gotcha. So the environment right now is sort of broken grassland. There's sort of like tufts of dry grass that does very well in arid climates. And the ground is broken up into little gullies and dry ditches, gulches, and the like.
I'm going to try to squeeze into a ditch the best that I can. And try to remain perfectly still, which is hard for a fidgety goblin.
All right. Go ahead and make me a stealth check.
All right. And I will be using roll 20 because I don't want my dice to go everywhere.
No worries.
So it's going to be a 13.
13. They fly right over you. They look like they were, when you saw them, they were headed right for you. So as you maneuver yourself through these sort of dry gullies and ditches and everything, taking advantage of the grass that's down in there to hide yourself, they make a sweep over you. You're like right there. And you can still hear them. It sounds like maybe they're circling or, searching. That's what you can hear right now. They're still in the region.
Well, I've lived in these wastelands for a solid 10 years. What's 10 more? I'll live here forever. No, I'm going to, if they're still in the area, I'm still going to try like a low goblin crawl and keep making my way towards my goal, even if I have to crawl on my belly and paw arm over arm and just kind of skitter across the land Gollum style.
Okay, so you're attempting to approach the pyramid on your own terms then?
Oh yes, unless I want to approach on my own terms.
Okay. It's gonna be like a day to get there. Between having to dodge patrols, you could make up time on Skitter Step between that, but you see patrols at least once an hour or so. Mm-hmm. Many of them zip across the distance and they don't really come your way. But I am going to need you to make just an overall stealth check for the day.
Are they always two at a time, or is there sometimes one?
There's always two. They seem to there's either two or four.
They travel single file to hide their numbers.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to go into the pyramid and shut down the energy cores. So just Obi-Wan style. I'm gonna get cut into a Force Ghost. So here's what we're going to do. Okay, I will do the stealth check. If there's just one, I would try taking him out and stealing his chariot. But let's do this. So I'm going to roll my stealth again. Don't fail me, dice. I got a 12.
Dice, don't fail me now. All right. Where are we? Got a 12. So that... It's about dusk from the at the end of that first day that you've left, and you can hear another group coming up on you. This time the sounds are coming from ahead of you. The terrain here is much flatter. The grass is taller and more plentiful, but there's not as many places to duck down out of sight.
Well, let's see what spells I have up my sleeve. So, all right. So let me look at my spell list. Not great. I'm a horrible goblin. I'm an even worse cleric with my mediocre stats. So let's see what I can do.
No.
I cast blindness on myself, and maybe they'll take pity on me. No. Yeah. I'm not worried about it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cast enhance ability on me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to cast Cat's Grace, so I have advantage on dexterity checks. So hopefully for the next... Well, that doesn't even matter. I'm not doing it. It's a waste. It only lasts for an hour.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. So I'm
You're not
just
casting it?
No, in fact, at this point, I think I've come this far. And if I've come this far... I'm going to... I'm going Gildan style. I'm going to make myself glow pink and start chanting my Baba Yaga song. They've seen this before. They know how it works.
All right. Gildan glows pink and begins chanting this Baba Yaga song. And they close in swiftly as you beacon yourself up against the twilight. The two of them come in fast. They have a net between the two of them that they attempt to scoop Gildan up in. Are you attempting to resist this net?
I'm going to embrace the net.
Okay.
And even sleep in it once they get me.
Are you riding Skitter Step at the moment?
No, Skitter Step is burrowed, and I've ordered Skitter Step, like I kneel down next to him before I do this ploy, before I make myself pink. I'm not going to tell him, go on now, boy, you're free. I'm going to be like, go back to Icky, be with your family. And I'm going to shed a single tear and give him a final embrace, rest his little centipede head on me, and then stick him in my mouth one last time. Take him out, send him back.
All right, he burrows under the ground and begins to make his way out of there. You're scooped up in the net and quickly hoisted onto one of the flying chariots. The pair of them zip across the landscape as night falls on the land between two rivers. This would be the night before the party makes their way with the skiff on towards the Great Tree. You are speeding across the landscape. The Great Pyramid, sort of an absence of light on the horizon as it looms large in your vision. And they come up right into a small opening that's at the very base of the pyramid. Now that you're closer to it, you can see that the whole thing is covered in these glyphs and sigils and what appear to be like arcane circuitry of some kind. We'll have to see what happens once you're inside here in just a minute. This is cutting back to the next day. How the rest of the party, you've gotten there, you've accomplished your initial tasks of staying out of sight, getting to the Tree of Andris, and or registering the elemental skiff that you have.
A responsible adult.
Right. Mur's over here adulting pretty hard. And so what's next for our band of ne'er-do-wells here at the refugee camp? I'm gonna have to shut off the backstage chat.
Sorry.
That's all right.
You don't think Guild in the Size Queen is funny?
Guild in the Size Queen is very funny. So what is everyone up to?
Jim.
Yes.
So Blue is avoiding the official eye of the Fellowship, possibly due to some hidden shame. We'll see. But he is looking for Gildan, his bae.
Mm-hmm.
How is he going to find Gildan? I think he's going to start asking around, maybe looking for familiar faces.
Okay.
Some people he's either shaken down before or chilled with.
Yeah.
Probably people with food.
Gotcha. Blue goes towards several familiar faces. Now, it's difficult to tell, but you kind of get a feel for the layout of this place as you're there in the morning, and there is a group of the same sort of like just ruffians that Baloo knows. People that you were kind of like, I don't know, a little lax with in Trade Town when you were still a warden there. You don't see anyone, of course, Enoch has stayed with the Drow, and none of the others were sort of around to, they didn't escape with you.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't see, like, say, Glostisha or Barnabas or any of them. You just see, some others.
Yeah. I kind of fear that Gildan might be
Going back to the hotel.
doing something stupid. Kind of worried about that. So he's gonna go, and I think he's more concerned about finding Gildan. So I think he's gonna go find maybe someone with the Fellowship that he's sympathetic with.
Uh-huh. There are so you're gonna go seek out a Fellowship member?
Yes.
Okay. There are plenty of them around. Most of them seem to be organizing the aid that's in the camp. There is maybe a fellow warden nearby who's just, keeping an eye on things, making sure there's no trouble or anything. As he sees you, this is a particular orc. Looks at Blue. Hey, Blue! Didn't know you made it out.
Yeah. Helped some people escape north, and now I'm back.
Oh, well, that's great. We could use your help.
Oh yeah, no, we killed quite a few of them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You see, do you know about Ordok then?
No.
Oh. Maybe you left before. The last you saw Ordok, he was leading resistance in Trade Town.
Yeah.
As y'all left that first night there.
Yeah. No, I haven't heard about Ordok. What happened?
Well, he sort of like kicks his feet in the dirt. He fell. Things got bad after, I guess, that first day that after you left. We didn't see you anymore. Dadvi said that she had sent you and Mur on some sort of mission, but we didn't know. We didn't see you, so he fell after that. It was bad those first few days, but things are better now. I think things are better.
Gosh, that's horrible. Did we lose anyone else?
I we haven't seen Dodvi after the second day, and all of her wardens are missing as well. Really, there were more refugees from the villages than Trade Town. Those that got out seemed to have left early. After the initial attack, there were very few that made it. But
so what's become of Trade Town then?
They occupy it, as far as we know. We haven't been south of the Fork for nearly 2 weeks, but as near as we can tell, they've set up shop. They patrol the streets. They've occupied the docks. They seem to be searching for someone taking people into their pyramid.
Taking people, like herding them in, or captives, or
not in mass, handfuls at a time.
Yeah,
like I said, it's been some time since we've been there, but he seems sort of like not jumpy, but kind of energetic, and like I don't know. If you ask me, I think we might be planning something. It seems like there's a lot of. He looks around. He gestures around the camp. A lot of things going on. A lot of organization. Like someone's getting ready. I don't know. They just. Yeah.
Do you have anything else that you want to tell me?
Oh, just good to see you, Blue. We thought we'd lost you there for a while. He's just kind of. You recognize he's one of many of these sort of the younger generation of the Fellowship who've they're people who've only known Trade Town, only known the land as it exists now, and view the Fellowship as more of a religion as opposed to a cooperative organization.
Yeah. Does he look like he's maybe hiding something?
He looks like he's more just been exhausted and is low on the totem pole.
Gotcha.
The impression Baloo kind of gets from him is that he's maybe speculating or doesn't really know, but is just sort of talking.
Okay. Okay. I am gonna have to go higher up the chain. Baloo's not looking forward to this.
Okay.
So he's gonna seek out somebody of mid-rank.
You know that the closer you get to the tree, the more that you'll find these kind of people.
Okay.
Sort of mid-rank in that.
Bugbear is expecting. Baloo the Bugbear is expecting confrontation. He is going to head towards leadership.
All right.
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
I see what goes on in chat, TK. So they're saying.
Background chat is
there's all kinds of chats.
If only you knew.
I know, right?
I
Anyway,
should use that nat 20 for deception here.
Right. So there is. I'm covering it all up. So there is a. You can make your way through the tent city. How about Myrrh? Gonna keep y'all busy.
Yeah.
Well, we were busy.
Yes, you were.
Very busy. But Myrrh has finished her legalese and is gonna be like, everyone left. So she's gonna tell Memnon and Kelrol to keep an eye on the skiff.
Okay.
If anyone says anything, show them a copy of the papers.
I'm not sure they're with you anymore. I
No,
think
we
they
took
stayed.
them.
Oh, they took them. Okay. For some reason I thought they were maybe still with
Oh
the
no,
drow.
they did stay. They did stay. That's right.
We
Because
can
we
never
thought they were
remember what
safer with
happened to
the army.
Mhm.
Then we're going by the pyramid.
Yes.
I'm gonna make a big piece of like posters that has like a bunch of legalese on it. Park it. Keep an eye on it.
Yeah, you can order a flunky.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab some lower ranking. Like, keep an eye on this. Make sure no one interferes. And then I'm gonna look for Ellie because she's our only human, the only human that we know of in existence. And you know, she must be kept safe. Must protect.
Yeah, you don't find her anywhere.
Can't find her anywhere.
She seems to have wandered off. You can't find Icky or Baloo either.
Where are your children?
So I don't know. Maybe you find Baloo eventually, right? Both of you are still kind of in the tent city.
I'd probably then look to see what's going on with the wardens since I've left. So I'd probably head towards the tree because I know there's gonna be most of them by the tree.
Yeah, you'd probably see me. I'm not making a I'm not trying to hide or anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen Nikki or Ellie?
Was I supposed to? Where did they go? Sorry, boss.
I will look for them.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm trying to find out about Gildan. I'm worried.
You do that. You are very concerning, yes.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you're concerned too.
Terribly.
So the two of you are walking towards the tree. Ellie. At this point, there's a gap between where sort of the tree is and the foliage that surrounds it and the camp. And so as Myrrh and Baloo walk across it, I guess, where is Icky during all this? You stayed just sort of on the edge of the camp, keeping an eye on Ellie, or did you try to sneak closer?
She, I'll say that she moved parallel, like, as much as she could. Not trying to, like, eavesdrop on the conversation or anything, but Ellie has, like, very, like, no defenses, in Icky's opinion. Like, she gets mad and she rips people apart, but Icky does that. That's not the same as, like, being half demon or shooting fire whenever the hell you want to, or being suicidal enough to, like, parade through a pyramid glowing pink or something like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, to Icky,
very true.
Ellie has no, like, real defenses.
Yeah.
So with all these ne'er-do-wells and strangers that Icky has never met, she's gonna try and, like, walk parallel-ish as possible.
Okay. In that case, Icky would eventually stumble into Baloo and Myrrh as they're making their way.
Okay, yeah. I suspect that she would, she can only focus on one thing at a time, so she would literally stumble into them.
I like that.
She just, like, knock one of them over. You're here still.
Mm-hmm.
Icky, have you seen Ellie? I've been trying to find her.
I have seen her.
Is she safe?
Yes. As safe as Ellie can be. She is very soft.
She's so soft. Very squishy.
No fur, no scales, no nothing.
No horns, no tail. It is very vulnerable. She burns so easily in the sun.
I know, man. She's...
Yeah. We have like a Ellie is soft party. I suspect Icky will look up again after like 10 minutes of talking about how worried she is that Ellie will be eaten, and just go like, "Thank you, she is lost again."
Where is Ellie at this point?
I think she's just inside the tree or wherever the lady was like, yeah, come on in.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a tour, Helen can provide. She's,
yes,
you know, she's
this
like
is
this
for free.
Of course, yes.
Okay.
All
so
are
tell
welcome
me
here.
Everything.
She's like, how? Yes, I will. The Great Tree of Andris, of course, was planted by our founder, Andris, who first led the tribes out of the northern wastes. And
what kind of tribes?
All sorts. She gestures towards the tent city of all sorts. The orcs and all of their kin, goblin kinds, many others. And he bade that they put down their arms and stop fighting each other and help rebuild the land. He carried with him a staff that he planted here. And after 100 days, this is what grew. And she gestures towards the great tree there. And you can see it from miles around. It's probably the first thing Ellie saw as she first entered this land, all those, however long ago that was. And so, you know, she and Helena leads you through the different, like, sort of twisting paths that wind their way amongst the roots, and there's sort of like ferns and great big tall grasses and flowering plants. And the closer you get to it, the more exotic and aromatic everything becomes. It's like a heady sort of, you know, maybe you have a sneezing fit or something from the pollen and everything in the air. but strange lights, sort of like dancing will-o-wisps and the like, flit from flower to flower and branch to branch. Not the undead, monstrous will-o-wisps, but the fairy kind.
So I have a question.
Yes.
You said that this person planted a seed, but then he put his... What would you call it?
He had a staff that he
Stick.
planted. Yes.
He planted. Okay. So, did this tree come out of the seed or the stick?
Our order speaks that the staff he carried was a splinter of the last tree to survive the world that was. And he bore it with him, and when it was time, planted it so that life might return anew to the world.
Okay, so the seed is irrelevant, is what you're trying to tell me.
Oh, I'm afraid there was no seed.
It was some
Ellie is
transubstantiation.
Because she was like, there was a seed, but then they planted this thing, and she's just like,
What?
huh?
Maybe a metaphorical seed.
Oh, I don't know what that means, but okay.
It's a symbol for something. And she's starting to lead you underneath the hill. And that would probably be the last time if Icky can make a perception check. In fact, both Baloo and Myrrh can attempt as well to spot Ellie.
Yeah, I'm looking for Ellie or anyone in the Fellowship. I would be more inclined to be like, have you seen a human, passing this way? I think that says 16.
18.
I got 13.
13. Icky spots Ellie, but even Myrrh is like not able to find her. But Icky sees that she's passing through a sort of an archway that a root forms, and then underneath that is a tunnel of some kind. That's where you lose sight of her.
Then if Icky can, she won't say anything. She'll just walk towards that.
Okay.
She doesn't want Ellie out of her sight.
All right.
She's very soft.
She's very soft.
What if something tries to eat her?
Fair.
Nothing she could do.
Yes, nothing she could do. All right, so Icky takes off, and I guess Myrrh and Baloo follow.
If she just takes off, I'll be like something. So she doesn't just take off in a damn direction for a reason. Usually, she's doing something. Either it's teeth or who knows what. But I'm gonna follow Icky.
Yeah,
Okay.
if it's in the direction of the tree anyway, then Blue would follow too.
Okay. So you follow towards the tree. Some time has passed for Gildan. You're not quite sure. It's difficult to recall exactly what happened unless you have some sort of ability to keep your mind from being clouded or something like that I don't know about. For Gildan.
So Gildan, he would not use any ability to prevent his mind from being clouded. He simply relies on the fact that he is wise, and if becoming clouded is what is happening, it is what is meant to be.
Okay. It's they did something when you first got there. You were passed through several different rooms and chambers. It's very difficult. The lighting, the hallways between rooms are unlit, and the rooms themselves have very strange lights from different what appear to be machines or contraptions of some kind, and so it's a very disorienting experience. But you pass through a room with amber light, another with sort of electric blue light, and we're eventually taken somewhere and given something that is making it difficult to focus in on details and the like. In game terms, Gildan is going to have to pass an intelligence test to recall any details about his time spent in the pyramid. Let me see real quick. Give me just a hot second. At some point, Gildan finds himself in a room that's sort of like empty blackness around you. ever see that movie, what is it, Beneath the Skin? Scarlett Johansson, she's kind of like walking through the dark. It seems as though she's spotlit. There's blackness all around her. It's like that. You find yourself alone. You appear to be unclothed and standing. And out of the darkness walks a purple-robed, silver-masked figure. So you are my wasteland prophet, yes?
I am the prophet of the wastelands, is my response.
Very good. And he just seems to start, it's difficult to tell with the mask on, but there are eyes behind that mask, golden eyes, and they stare intently at Gildan, and you can feel a sort of psychic pressure build up. And Gildan has had experiences. He travels to other places in his dreams. He's wandered the wastes. You understand what it's like when someone is attempting to read your mind or discern something from it.
Oh, yes. And what Gildan does is he embraces those moments, because be careful with what you wish for. Gildan has seen horrible things and has endured a horrible life. And what lives deep in the far realms normally taxes the sanity. So he opens his mind like a book, forcing all of the thoughts out. Sometimes the best defense is a good offense. He's like, if you want to see what the world eater looks like, I will show it to you. And he's just forcing out every dark thought in his head.
Think terrible thoughts. Yeah.
I think we should roll opposed charisma checks. As a clash of personalities.
Nice.
I can do that.
Love it.
That is a 14.
Well, I hate to ruin your party, but I got a 9.
The figure steps back after your initial just opening up, seemingly phased for a moment. The eyes behind the mask blink, and then you can hear a smile creep across his voice. Excellent. This is what we wanted, Gildan. And you sort of like are paralyzed in some sort of telekinetic vice as this thing reads your mind like an open book.
Yes, and Gildan's going to... how does he want to handle this? So there's a couple different ways. What he is going to do is... So can you describe to me, not necessarily mechanically, so essentially my thoughts are being read, correct?
Correct. However, the response that you had has created an unusually potent bond, psychic bond between the two of you, and you think you might be able to make this a two-way exchange. It's possible that you would incur some cost to that you might damage yourself, but you think it's possible. In game terms, you might be acquiring new flaws as
I love that. I embrace those. So, I mean, Gildan's pretty flawed as it is. What's a few more? They'd probably make him a little more interesting. But so I have a question. So Gildan is undressed and he's wearing no shoes. How does the texture beneath his feet feel?
It feels like wet marble. Slippery and treacherous.
So Gildan's going to call out and do the sign of Baba Yaga and meld into stone and go through the floor.
Okay.
This lasts up to 8 hours. So
there's a slight chuckle. Very good, Gildan. Very good. We can do this all day.
Yeah, and like the thing is, like Gildan's essentially going to like slink across the floor too. Like he kind of wants him to see his nude goblin floor. In fact, I'm gonna go like directly beneath his feet and just stare up at him with unblinking eyes.
Okay. Stares down at you with the mask as the psychic interrogation continues. Let's cut real quick back to the tree. Ellie has followed Helena into the depths of the tree, and there's soft pink, pastel blue, soft green lights seemingly coming from lichens and shelf fungus and the like. The paths here are smooth and well worn, and not in the least bit slippery or treacherous. As you take a winding tunnel down into the depths underneath the tree. Anything else that you want to discuss with Helen?
Yes. So what do people usually do here? Is this just like a symbol for peace?
This is the seat of our power, and we draw strength from the tree. It is a source of primal energy, the only one we are aware of. And it gives some of us a great deal of power and provides all of us with nourishment and life. Our leader, a warlord who traveled with Andris himself, communes with the primal powers from beyond at the heart of the tree.
So, like magic?
It's a type of magic, yes. A natural and nurturing magic, but not always. It can be wrathful.
Does she have any weapons on her?
She appears, other than the armor she's wearing, she doesn't seem to have any other... she's not armed for battle or anything. Okay. No weapons or anything.
Was it just regular silver armor?
It's sort of like studded leather. That's what it looks like. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Can you show me some magic?
She holds out her hand, and let's see what she can do real quick.
Ellie is so excited. Being at a magic show.
Right. She holds out her hand, and a series of sort of like multicolored torches light up along the tunnel and further illuminate the underground space that you're in. That is but a taste. I think that, and as she talks, her voice grows louder and more resonant. It's not like unpleasantly loud, it's just very echoing and fills up the space. Mm-hmm. Those are just tricks that I can pull. I am capable of far more. I am in charge of the defenses here, and I had hoped that with your arrival we might see some of more Baloo and Myrrh, so they might join us. But for now, I think it's time that you met Thrax, or rather that Thrax met you, as he's quite curious about your heritage.
I don't know who that is, but if he's as nice as you, we do it.
Thrax is our leader, the Arch-Hierophant of our order.
So is that a yes? Is he nice?
He's pleasant, but tends to be distant of late.
Why?
He spends a great deal of time in worlds beyond ours, and it takes its toll.
Have you tried giving him a hug?
And she's like,
Nice.
No, I don't believe so. But a smile crosses her face as she considers it. Ellie and Helen are walking rather slowly through the tunnels, and if Icky and company travel quickly, you'll catch up with them soon enough.
Ellie does do that, or Icky does do that. She will travel quickly as quickly as it takes to keep them in her sight, and then she like just slows down without saying anything.
Okay.
And like by now, like she's underground, so she doesn't even try to like hide behind things. She just kind of like menacingly watches from the shadows.
Do we see Ellie now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna look at Icky and then look and be like, I get I get it now, but I'm not gonna say anything. And Mer's gonna approach forward.
Mm-hmm.
Ellie, darling, we misplaced you. It is good to see you are in capable hands. Helen, it's been some time.
Well, Mer, I'm pleased to see you. As Helen sort of like she was walking away from you as you approached.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pleasure to see you. I'm glad that you, and she looks, nods towards Baloo, and Baloo as well. I'm glad that you were able to make it out.
Mm-hmm.
Many others were not so fortunate.
Oh, it is such tragedy. And she's gonna go over and embrace Helen, do like the kiss on each cheek kind of thing. How have things been? What has happened in our absence?
Helen takes Mer's hand in hers, and the two of them walk as she gestures for everybody else to follow.
I'm going to stand next to Ellie.
Okay.
Just in case we got to split.
It was bad. That first night after that, whoever that was, issued his ultimatum, they began taking prisoners. Selectively at first, those from amongst the the Arcanists and other troublemakers. We do not know their fate. But Trade Town was attacked, and both Dodvi and her guard are missing.
Oh,
and
what a shame.
Orduk has fallen.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Who has taken his place?
No one as yet. There is a dire need for warriors as we are planning an assault. I hear that the Drow have answered the call to arms and are marching downriver. Is that true?
Yes, they're actually at that outpost right across the way.
Excellent. I'm sure they will be sending someone along shortly to coordinate.
Certainly. We traveled a bit faster than them, but conferred that with them before arriving here.
Excellent. And as she's leading you through these twisting tunnels, you guys abruptly enter into a rather large chamber. All sorts of crystals and tree roots and the like stud the walls. There's a soft glow from phosphorescent plants and fungi all over. It's a very soft, sort of greenish blue glow. And sitting in a lotus-style meditative position on a small rock in a pool of water, a very shallow pool of water, is a half-orc that seems ancient beyond words, just like lines crisscrossing his face, very old. And he opens his eyes, and staring back at you, are eyes remarkably like Ellie's. Most everyone around here being orc, goblin, tiefling, lizard folk, and the like, yellow, red, black, brown, all sorts of eye colors, except for the distinctive white and colored iris of the humans. So the half-orc here stares back at you with human eyes, and a smile creeps across his face as he looks towards each of you. It is good that you have come back to us. He's specifically speaking to Mer at this point. And I desired greatly to lay eyes on human that I had heard about. as he looks towards Ellie. You
I
find... what do you say?
I look at Helen. Is that him?
She nods politely and... Yes. This is Threx, our Arch-Hierophant. And he hasn't gotten up from his position. Even when he's not talking, his eyes kind of like, like sort of like those dolls. They kind of like slowly close. You can see they just sort of like his eyelids kind of like slowly close on you as he's talking to you. You have come to us at a grave time, I'm afraid. Helen here says that it is bad. Not the worst it's been, but that someone has arrived to take someone from us. I thank you. I thank you for getting them out of harm's way and securing our allies.
We try our best.
And at that, he seems to kind of go back into whatever meditative state he's in. And Helen sort of speaks up. You'll forgive Thrax. It is difficult to call him back lately. He spends a great deal of time, his spirit wandering the Fey realms. But the situation is grave. If we can coordinate with the Drow, we will attack within days. I would be pleased if you would join us. And she's speaking specifically to Baloo at this point. And I'm sure that I can count on your support. She's referring to Myr.
Of course.
And who is this? She asks of Icky.
Icky's just kind of like gonna stand there awkwardly and like she doesn't like, is this an actual question? Or it's got that weird like flavor sound that Myr does when she's asking a question but might not actually want to know the answer from the person she's asking it to. So Icky's just kind of standing there like,
this is Icky.
Oh.
She's one of our recent traveling companions. Icky, this is
smile.
Helen Highwater, one of my closest friends.
She's really nice.
Yeah, Icky sort of standing in her presence, Helen and Myr seem to be like two sides of the same coin,
Yeah.
And, there's sort of a pleasant, genuine sort of sweetness that comes from Helen, but at the same time, like you suspected, there's maybe not entirely truthful.
Yeah, Icky thinks that they sound like two different sides of the same song. She's like, everything about this sounds rehearsed and practiced, but she doesn't know how to articulate it. So she's like, a mating dance. Like, it's very like, I'm going to say this and I expect you to say this back to me. And Icky doesn't know if she should be more suspicious of it than she typically is of anything. So she just like kind of does like and stays back where she is.
Gotcha. Helen looks around. When we last spoke with Dodvi and the Drow ambassador. It was Harold at the time, hurried as well. But we spoke with her and with Yazilin. Yazilin mentioned a goblin with you? Gildan?
Yes, there was a goblin traveling with us. Unfortunately, said the goblin seems to have zero sense of self-preservation and may have run away when no one was looking, and it has been very untrackable, and we think he may have been headed straight towards the pyramid. However, the other one that they were searching for is safely with the Drow on the other side on the watchtower.
Excellent.
He at least has common sense.
A sense of self-preservation.
A sense of self-preservation, common sense, logic, all of the things that some people seem to lack.
I know little of this Gildan other than what others have said of him, and he seems quite mad. Or at the very least, fearless, which to me
is a symptom of madness, yes.
Largely the same, yes. And I do hope that whatever it is that he had, that the owner of that pyramid wants, that he makes him pay for it. And at that point, Helen starts to talk about coordinating with the Drow and sort of like the strength that they have both from Tradetown and with the Fellowship, and goes to more practical matters of defense and their strategy for the coming days. As near as everyone can tell, there's a stalemate that has existed for the last week-ish between the forces of the Pyramid and the forces of the Fellowship. After several intense battles in which the servitors of Lang showed themselves to be quite tactically adept and adaptable, they sort of established a perimeter from some of the outlying villages and occupied Tradetown. And it seems as though, according to Helen, that there's daily skirmishes and the like, but no major fights have happened since those opening days when you were sort of fleeing and bringing everybody to safety. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, what she discusses with you here in the inner cavern underneath the Tree of Andris. What are y'all? I'm curious about y'all's reactions.
Baloo does not trust what's going on.
No?
No.
In what way?
He's afraid that the organization, again, not the druids themselves, because he's loyal to druids and druidism, but he's afraid that the organization itself might try to give up give in to the demands. And,
which is another reason we left Memnon.
Yep. Yeah, worried about having Memnon and Gildan just kind of handed over, because who knows if they'd leave at that point, you know.
So you're thinking that they would capitulate and hand over both Memnon and Gildan in order to just get them to move on.
Peace, yeah.
Yeah, it would be the lawful thing to do, I guess. Greater good. But when has that helped anybody, really?
Perhaps. That Baloo knows that, number one, that the Fellowship takes a intense sense of ownership, not like in a possessive sense, but like we kind of helped build this place and we will protect it, do or die kind of attitude. So Baloo, maybe I'll let you figure out sort of the inner workings of Baloo's mind, but in terms of like what the Fellowship would do, fighting back is what they normally do in these situations. However, the Fellowship is not a monolithic organization. There are factions and different groups within it that have different agendas. The most notable of which being that the older members of the order tend to be more practical and pragmatic, whereas the younger people tend to be more treat it more like a religion.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where you're at now. Baloo has every reason not to kind of trust them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like he respects the tree. He respects what they're doing to the land, trying to restore it. But he also knows that yet another organized, human-led, that's the wrong word, but, personhood-led organization could be just as destructive as the one that ruined the land.
Right. Gotcha.
So that's kind of like in the back of his mind. That's kind of
mortals,
right?
But this is, I like this moment here just to kind of step out of the scene for a second, in that Baloo sort of has connected with the land that's dying, and the Fellowship is connected with the land as it's being reborn and remade, and so it makes sense that there would be some tension. Some tension there. That's good. How about Ellie and Icky?
Ellie would kind of just go with whatever Baloo, and Icky thought was, I guess, the right thing to do. In the sense of what she said.
Lord.
Okay.
Icky is like, there's a lot of talking. And so she'll actually, like, when she comes closer to the group, she'll kind of like touch the back of Ellie's elbow and say, Ellie, I have many words. As like an invitation to walk and talk.
Yeah, she'll be like,
Yeah.
Just walk towards you.
Yeah. As they get out of like general range of the group, Icky will immediately switch to Draconic.
Okay.
And she'll walk with Ellie like around some mushrooms and stuff because she doesn't know how to buy time. And she'll just tell Ellie, she'll say, are you really willing to die for Gildan?
Snap.
I mean, he is terrible, but not that terrible.
That seems like a sentence that should have ended in the middle. And like, if any of them can hear, like Icky's dialect of Draconic sounds kind of like clicks and shrieks. So yeah, but like she speaks.
I
much
assume
better.
she's laughing in a tunnel.
Yeah. They found some love scene.
Ellie must have had a hilarious joke because Icky's just dying over there.
Yeah.
No one can get through to Icky unlike Ellie, you know.
Yeah. And so she's like walking with Ellie and she's like, you know, you're very young to die for somebody you don't know.
Well, the way that I see it is that these things in this pyramid and these people might kill everybody if maybe we don't do something about it.
Do you think he would die for you?
And she thinks about this very hard, and she remembers a time that Gildan made her breakfast. Yes.
Yeah. Icky will remind her of the time that Gildan almost bullied her into crying. She'll say, what use does he have for you really? Because when Gildan and I first met, he was willing to sell you to me for food.
Now remember, Icky was in a catatonic state and is acting on character knowledge she would not have.
Okay. Selling her
that is
to
true. That
Icky
is
for
true.
food,
That was
does
different.
know, but
Yes, that's different. I forgot that Icky was in a coma after.
Which is partially
coming
why
out
I
of
didn't
hell.
act it out.
Girls, lawyer, and Ellis.
It's an RP
Yeah.
lawyer.
Yeah, partially why I didn't act it out, but it was funny either way.
Yes, but you're right. Nevertheless, Gildan did
Mer
try to
would have
sell
told.
Icky.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So how long do you guys converse in Draconic?
Icky does until Ellie's pretty much tired of it because she doesn't ever get to use this language, and so she feels like this is something she doesn't like to speak in Draconic.
Your amulet seems quite pleased that you're speaking in Draconic.
Ooh.
It spurs Icky on. She feels like she's doing a good.
It like purrs and hums against your scales.
Yeah, she will tell Ellie, she'll say, I don't trust this fellowship. I do not like them. Mur's half demon. Baloo makes fire whenever he pleases. If you think any of these people will die for you, tell me right now.
Yes, because they would have killed me already, I think, or sold me to people, I think. And Mer made me breakfast too, so.
Like, Icky feels like there's this like weird kinship where it's like, ah, yes, this person did provide you with food, so I guess they must like you. Even if she's not convinced, she'll just like point the way back and say, fine, after you.
Also, I heard that guy talked to needed a hug because he's sad.
That's disgusting. Don't touch people you don't know.
She's like, oh,
That's sound advice. That's sound advice.
There you go. There you go. So Ellie and Icky have a private conversation in Draconic as sort of Baloo broods about the situation now. I am curious about how Myrrh has received Helen Highwater's news, and then we're going to cut back to Gildan's
Oh, she's
psychic
calculating.
Oh, yeah.
She's saying, okay, well, if they send in these people, they're probably going to die, which is good for me, because then I'll get promoted up to this. And then she's just math calculating the ladder climbing potential of this situation, because she knows she can talk her way into a spot that's hardly dangerous at all whatsoever, or no danger, along with the people that she likes, so like this group and Helen. So she's not very concerned about it. This is ladder climbing opportunity in the Fellowship.
That's
and
true.
If we save Gildan too, I mean, I guess that make Baloo happy. So
that's true.
We gotta get Skitterstep. So
we do have to get Skitterstep.
Yeah, no, she's just seeing basically calculations, and it's like the calculation thing's just going on behind her, but with deaths and rankings, and yeah. She's also playing tailsies with Helen. It's just like footsies, but it's just the tiefling tail, so no one else can really see it.
Just happens. Helen, the plan currently is to sort of launch a two-pronged attack at some time in the coming days, using water elementals to clear out the river, which has been blockaded, and the drow to provide the bulk of the soldiers is what will happen. That's kind of the it in a nutshell. Gildan.
Okay, so I have a question for you, Jim. Can you describe to me, either through fictional terms or mechanical terms, exactly what's going on between myself and the masked individual? Because this is important for what I do next.
So, are you familiar? I believe the spell is Modify Memory. It has two uses. It lets you alter someone's memories, but it also lets you deep read, I believe. You
can make someone forget a memory, you can make a new memory, or you can make a memory very vivid.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite spells ever of all time.
So let's modify memory. So let's talk a little bit about this. So I am connected to modify memory. It doesn't matter. All right, I can't do anything as ridiculous as I wanted to.
Basically, it's a spell about that power.
Okay.
So that's the nearest equivalent of what we think about it. So at the moment, you are in a two-way, because of your response to the psychic manipulation. Normally, a psychic manipulation, the person resists and all sorts of things. Gildan opens himself up in attempting to flood with information. That flood connects you to his mind.
Okay, so now I'm connected to his mind. So would it be fair to say we would be able to detect each other's thoughts?
For as many rounds as one of you decides to keep sort of that link open, you will learn something about the other.
Yeah, and this is where I'm really going to screw with this guy. So I'm going to cast non-detection on myself while I'm sitting in the stone. I can cast spells on myself while I'm in the stone. So essentially any sort of divination or scrying sensors, etc., I am cut off from. But if I'm linked to him, I'm still in his brain. So it's just peering Gildan. This is kind of like a long shot. And it doesn't matter how this works mechanically. I just want this to be jarring. Like, he's going through all of Gildan's thoughts. Like, think of, it's like seeing the Matrix, right? He's in my brain. He's being flooded by all these weird goblin hag images and things like that. He's going to hit a brick wall as this happens. And I don't care if he reestablishes connection or he gets me anyways. I just want him to feel it.
Okay. Yeah, you from underneath the stone where you are, he's sort of like pacing around the location of where Gildan's staring up at him from this marble. And there is an audible sort of noise that comes out of the mask as this sort of shield that you've placed over yourself to prevent his attempts to detect your thoughts comes down, and there's a sort of maybe a growl or a frustrated grunt and you can feel something, some sort of magic power or the like, picking around the edges and trying to detect a weakness in your non-detection. Are you proficient in Arcana or perhaps religion, whatever skill that you see as governing how your spells work?
Divination, so religion.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead and make me a roll for that, please.
I got a 5 with a +4.
You aren't sure exactly what's going on, but you have a sense that whatever magic he's using to probe your mind is unlike, it's a different caliber of spell than one that your ward is designed to protect against. And at some point, he will break through. What I'm curious to know is that in the time that you were connected to him, what Gildan learned.
So here's a couple things I learned. I learned every true name he has memorized, but not his own. I learned his land of origin and his plane of origin. And I also learned the one thing he fears and the thing that he absolutely does not fear. So kind of like polar opposites. So a couple personal things, a couple of disconnected things, and then a couple things that are very personal to him and some things that are impersonal to him.
So that was true name, what he fears, what he doesn't fear. Did I miss one?
His plane and land of origin.
Plane and land of origin. So that's 4 items, which would mean 4 rounds that you maintained the connection. And that means 4 things that he will learn from Gildan.
Sure.
And
it's all like bad memories. It's like, oh man, he made Ellie cry. I don't even want this anymore.
Right. Just sending him the worst. So you learn a great many true names of entities, both otherworldly and terrestrial, which we'll have to work out the implications of that at a future date. You also learn that Leng, which is this being's name, is afraid of something from his past that he wishes to erase. And it's very unspecified. His mind is like a maze and is difficult to navigate, even though you have open access to it. What he doesn't fear is that's a good one. I might have to think about that one for a while. And his plane and land of origin. You get the sense that he is from another world and yet calls this world his home. That instead of being the land that he's in now, it's more of a temporal thing, that his time has not yet come, but that he calls this place home. You also get the impression from him that he is some sort of celestial being. Or at the very least, has a celestial heritage.
Is that a good thing?
Well, I don't know yet.
I wasn't really asking a character. I was kind of just worried.
Just kind of worried. So this interrogation goes on for some time. Back at the tree, food is eventually served. And people come and go. You seem to be allowed to stay in the inner chamber here. Pretty much like Helen comes and goes. Other people, they're like, hey, stay as long as you need.
Are we still in the room with the guy that's...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like 20 feet from you, meditating.
Does he speak Druidic, or are either of these people druids?
Helen is not specifically a druid. She is technically she's a cleric. But yes, they would speak. The druids would speak Druidic.
Well, if what's his name was Druidic, the Thrax, was it?
Thrax is his name.
I would speak to Thrax if he knew Druidic, or I mean, even if he didn't, I would try to talk to him in Druidic, because I would assume he was Druidic.
Yeah. His eyes slowly open and wander over towards Blue, and responding in Druidic.
I ask him what the tree is feeling.
The tree feels a loss of those it once nurtured, and a loss of someone connected. The tree stands tall and strong.
How deep do the roots go?
They go deep, Baloo.
Do you know what I've been through?
He kind of looks at you. Jasper told me.
Okay.
Did you find what you were looking for?
I think I did. I don't know if I have a place in the Fellowship, but I do have a place in the land.
That seems wise, Baloo. Know
Good.
that everyone must find their place. We bear you no ill will.
Good, thank you. Hopefully, well, not hopefully, we will save the land from this current meager threat.
He smiles a sort of languid smile and sinks back into meditation.
Good.
So for everyone at the tree, give me an idea. It's getting close to evening here. Is there sort of plans that y'all have? Give me an idea of what it is that you'd like to do here for this next bit.
I checked my client database.
There's a lot of them still here, but many of them are missing. Should have Myrrh roll me a d4.
All right. Also, she's gonna try to flirt with Helen, like she every time she sees her.
Helen enjoys your company.
4. That's a 4.
4 of Myrrh's top-paying clients are missing.
That's not good.
Missing.
That's not good at all. D4.
Can Ellie get close to this meditating guy that I'm forgetting his name?
Thrax is his name.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down. I dropped my pen.
I put it in the backstage.
Thank you.
So yeah, you can get close to him. The water in the pool is maybe like 4 inches deep. It's and like crystal clear.
Ooh, okay. So Ellie's gonna get closer to him if nobody stops her, but also she's not trying to be like sneaky, I guess. I don't know. She'll just get close to him and then just to stare at him like, oh, this is like a cool magic person.
He's like so still, you're not even sure he's breathing.
Are you alive? I heard you need a hug.
His eyes open. I am alive. I am alive. Hug. He seems to just sort of like accept just like, what a wonderful, wonderful thing. As he does all, that's his response to Ellie.
Why are you doing that?
Doing what?
Meditating?
The tree is a pathway between worlds, and the world beyond it is a wonderland of life. It's pleasant to walk there, and I learn much about what our world needs through communion. But he seems like he's in a state of near euphoria.
Okay.
The dude's high on trees.
But
Yeah.
do you ever just walk around, or do you do this all the time?
He reaches out his hand to you. He takes it. He's sort of like both of them are sitting in his lap, and he reaches out his right hand towards Ellie.
I look at it and then look back at him.
I mean, it's scarred and calloused and just old. His skin has gone gray from age, but he holds it out.
I go for an awkward handshake because I don't know what he's trying to tell me.
You take his hand?
Yes. Yeah.
Ellie takes his hand, and immediately the cave disappears, and you are in a jungle of just what's a jungle? There's birds and insects and all sorts of flowers all around you. It is hot and humid, and there's just noise coming from all around as life is bursting around you. You're on a path of some kind. A younger Thrax stands next to you, and he smiles. I cannot keep you here long, but this is what and where I walk.
Oh my god. I get why you just never come back to the real world. Not that this isn't the real world. I actually don't know what's going on here, but it looks very nice. And what is that noise?
It is the life of the place. It is filled with creatures, both great and small. Some of them you should stay away from some of them. But a great many of them are friendly and helpful. And looking closer, you can see the same sort of will-o-wispy sort of lights flying through, except instead of at the tree, they're amorphous sort of dots of lights. Looking at them closer here, you can see that they are figures. Cricket-legged tiny people with insect wings, sort of all manner of pixies and fae and sprites and the like.
When I see the little cricket things, I'll just be like, those actually taste really good.
He chuckles. One of them comes up and stares at Ellie down her nose. She's like a Tinkerbell sized,
Sorry.
Yeah, flies off. And he takes his hand in yours. I can keep you here about a moment longer.
So, okay, before I go, is there anything cool I should do here? Is there anything I should know? I actually don't know.
He he reaches up and takes a branch that has a bunch of just bursting fruits, just the most gorgeous red, perfect fruit that maybe the only fruit Ellie has seen, and takes a branch of them, and there are 4 pieces of this fruit on it. Take this back. You might find that you need it. And he places it in your hand, and you're back in the cavern. You guys saw he took her hand in his. Ellie just sort of stood there for a moment, but when she turns back, she has a branch with 4 pieces of fruit on it.
I got a thing. I went into a place, and it was very beautiful. Do you guys want to try this? I smell it. Does it smell different?
It smells delicious.
I take one. I eat it.
Okay. It's absolutely. It's just I don't what's your favorite fruit? It's like that. It's like the best. It's like the best piece of your favorite fruit that you've ever had.
Is there any kind of druidic significance to the branch?
I mean, there's all kinds of significance to it. Whether this is a souped-up goodberry or it's something from the fairy realms that this tree connects to, which are the pathways to life in the world. Yeah. And Ellie's chowing down on a piece of fruit from it.
He's gonna let her do what she needs to do.
Okay.
I will take a fruit. This is a very generous offer, Ellie. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll very carefully examine it. Like, is this gonna kill me?
It smells
celestial?
delicious.
Okay.
It's not celestial. It's not celestial.
I'm not going to turn down food, so if she offers, I will eat it.
Okay.
But I will do so with reverence.
All right. One left.
All right,
Not a
Icky.
fruit person. Yeah. she'll actually like push the branch back to Ellie and be like, keep mine.
Okay.
Respect.
Those of you who eat the fruit, you feel a surge of something inside you. Now, I don't want Gildan and Icky to feel left out because I've got something in mind for them. But Ellie, Baloo, and Mur gain the benefits of an ability score increase, which is to say you can choose an ability score increase or you can choose a feat.
Hello, charisma.
Well, I grew wings.
Hello, Con.
The amulet seems pleased
Hello, Con.
that Icky turned down the fruit.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Icky's not really a fruit eater, but she's not gonna like throw it on the ground like she would 11 episodes ago.
Good.
And then Thrax opens his eyes to the group. I hope that aids you in what is to come.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
The remaining one will be a souped up goodberry, so like a max potion of greater heal. That's what, 44 plus 4? So 20 hit points. The remaining fruit will heal. That's what happens, I guess, as Ellie comes back from the Feywild. Like I said, Helen is in and out of the room. Plans are being made. The whole place is a hive of activity that you can get as involved in as you like.
Yeah, if it gets too late into the evening, I'll tell her she needs to take a break. Sit down, relax.
Yeah.
So, Jim, how long do we have?
How long do you have until what?
That's a good question. Because in theory, you have forever and no time at all.
Sure. If you want to get philosophical.
High off of this wonderful,
even here.
high off of this wonderful fruit, I want to see if I can't locate creature. But locate, that's a 4th level spell. But I have locate plants and animal.
Correct.
So anyway, I can use a 3rd level spot to meet like halfway and locate Skitterstep. Or is that too specific?
No, I see what you're
an animal.
Skitterstep's an animal. Like,
Okay.
what are you?
Basically, I'm going to do locate animal, but I want to do very specific. Like
Gotcha.
I want to focus my mind, and I've talked to Skitterstep personally, and I know it. I know what Skitterstep looks like.
You want to use a 3rd level slot of detect plants and animals to kind of do like a long range locate and teleport with that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Something very specific.
You know that there are meditation rooms similar to what Thrax is in right now here that you can use to focus your power and alter the spell in that way.
Yes.
So yeah, and there's rooms all around. Eventually, Helen shows you to some if you wish. They're nice enough, but you can't see the sky from it.
Okay.
And so Baloo goes off to meditate and perform this sort of ritual casting of the spell.
Yeah.
Nice. How does that work? What does it look like?
Well, I'm going deep. I'm going to see if I can't maybe tap into the tree. I know the tree and I do not share the same connection that the Fellowship does with the tree, but since it is the land, I'm going to go deep. I'm going to see if those roots can't spread out and find this magically buffed creature.
Yeah, you feel both the new roots of the Tree of Andris and the fossilizing dead roots of the trees which used to cover the land here, and kind of combining your sense for both. Seek out Skitterstep. Let me bust out my map real quick.
Booyah.
Booyah. So Skitterstep is nearby, southwest of here, which would put him around sort of between the pyramid and the outpost that y'all are at.
On the other side of the river, or
Other side of the river.
Okay.
Generally traveling in your direction, you've made rudimentary contact. You can exchange simple commands, basically the equivalent of like a message spell.
Okay. Well, then I know I don't speak centipede anymore. I've lost that connection, but I will try to relay the image and thought of Icky, so that Icky is this way.
Okay.
Basically, trying to convey that.
Gotcha. Yeah, you got the sense that Skitterstep was sort of vaguely heading in this direction, knew more like was heading the last place it knew where Icky was. But it changes direction and begins to head your way. It might be a while because it's going to have to cross that river.
That's true, yeah.
But it is a burrowing, gigantic centipede. So... you've got that having established contact with Skitterstep and drawn it closer.
Yes.
How about everyone else? What do you guys do to prepare for the evening that we're going to see what has happened to Gildan in the meantime?
Icky's going to wait for either Myrrh or Baloo to be alone and not really doing anything. In the meantime, she's going to kind of wander underneath the Great Tree. Because the Gavrons are big enough, she doesn't feel claustrophobic. She's just going to like look at everything, try to identify things that she could eat if it came to that, and kind of map out. Bugs. Yeah, and like map out under the tree in her mind, like for tunnels and stuff, if they're forced under the tree during attack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this place is sort of honeycombed with tunnels that you can kind of get a feel for.
Yeah, so she'll just map that out like in her brain.
Mm-hmm. I imagine Icky has a real intuitive sense for being underground, given her burrowing.
Which means she'll probably like scratch shit into the walls, be like dead, and but she can't read, so it's just like
it's just certain symbols. Like this is a triangle,
right?
This is a square. This is a circle.
I mean, most people out here can't read, so symbols are a great way of communicating.
She's got Icky sign.
All right, so Icky's kind of on patrol and sort of like getting a feel for the place.
Yeah, just until Myrrh or Baloo are not doing anything.
Yeah, after, Myrrh probably wasn't doing a whole lot until she makes Helen take a break, but that would be late night. That wouldn't be anything for a while. She'd just kind of be like, I'm just gonna sit and ponder and keep an eye on Ellie.
I'd imagine it would take a long time for me to cast my augmented locate animal spell.
Yeah,
it does. Yeah. Okay. So Myrrh finds Icky first.
Probably. She's just chilling. She's kind of wandering around, just kind of looking. Like her brain's going, but she doesn't look busy at all.
So if they're for the most part alone, then Icky will look at Myrrh and just kind of like, she knows Myrrh doesn't really speak Draconic, so she doesn't even like make an attempt towards it, but she'll like look at Myrrh and be like, would you let the broodling die for you?
Ellie?
That's what I said.
Just verifying, there are many smaller people here. Also, other squishy people. I would prefer her not to. She's very unique.
Good enough.
It's not my fault if she runs into something like Gildan does, but I will not allow her to run into danger if I can help it.
Will you die for Gildan?
Oh, no.
Yeah, she's just confirming that Myrrh is on like the same page. Is like priority-wise.
I am going along with this plan so that I can establish us a safer position in this upcoming battle. Because if we go along with it, otherwise we might just get thrown somewhere. If I'm involved, I can pull some strings and stuff. I'm very persuasive when I want to be.
What after?
Well, I guess that depends on the state of affairs. No?
No.
Well, if Gildan is alive, I'm sure Baloo will be very happy. And we will see what is going on. If the pyramid is dead, well, that is very good. Memnon can go do what he likes. If everything goes to shit, then we leave. Obviously, our lives are too important to
Go where?
Away. Maybe
Away where?
south, north. I'm not very particular.
South is mostly other lizard folk.
Oh, south, north, east, west. I'm not very particular.
You will go back to hell?
No, I would go back to hell if necessary. I do not plan on returning for some time, though.
And Icky thinks about it for a minute, and is Ellie from hell?
No, I do not believe so. I think I would know.
Baloo smells different.
I don't see it in her blood at all. It's just the face. She's definitely not half fiendish.
Yeah, Icky's kind of jumping conversations as her mind jumps, and she does she says that Baloo does smell different. Why?
Did he shower?
What is that?
Did he get cleaned up? Is that why he smells different? He's no longer.
No.
I don't think he's showered. Okay.
No, he smells more like.
I have unshowered.
Lightning.
I do not have your keen senses of smell as you do.
Yeah. Icky will do her best to describe what lightning smells like.
I listen intensely, but I'm going, this is the weirdest conversation I have had in some time.
Baloo spits so much fire lately. He is so.
He's been very temperamental. Not quite as chill as when I first met him.
Not at all.
Up until recently. In fact, I think he's not been the same ever since Traytown. Definitely not since hell.
Will we have to eat him?
Potentially? I do not think so. Not right now, though. He could just be going through a phase. I don't know what phase, what age he is in bugbear relations. It's not exactly my forte. Maybe he's going through bugbear puberty and it's just acting out.
Talking and Icky's just wow, this is a lot of words.
Baloo's actually 40.
Yeah.
He's actually old for
He's such an old bugbear.
Yeah.
Mer is not she doesn't know the lifespan and expectancy of bugbears.
The more Mer talks about it, the more Icky's kind of this is a lot of words to say something.
Maybe he's going through a midlife crisis. People have those sometimes. They hit near their end point or their middle point, and they go, "What am I doing with my life? Am I doing anything? I am worth nothing. What is significance?" And they do things to try to figure out their purpose. Maybe he's
walking away He's just emotionally exhausted. She'll curl up in a corner now and go to sleep.
Nice.
I don't know. It's either midlife crisis, bugbear puberty. I don't pay that much attention.
Wow, that was a lot.
It's not had any benefit to me to know the life cycle of bugbears, so I don't know it.
Yeah, there you go. So after
then I go flirt with my ASMR friend.
All right. Yeah, Helen's got a lot of. It's been a rough couple of days. She's very appreciative of the time with Mer. And let's see how Gildan's doing. Gildan, you have reached the end of what maybe is your first day here. Difficult to tell, but eventually, Lang shatters the non-detection that you summoned around yourself to keep him out. And this time, the mental probe is more forceful and violent as opposed to last time. You feel disoriented during the whole thing, as if maybe Ling is trying to punish you or, just teach you a lesson of some kind.
No. Okay.
He's being an asshole.
Yeah.
No, it's D&D. I was going to say, if it's modify memory, it has to be a target he can see. I can always shoot him deeper in the stone.
Modify memory is the closest version.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I was like, no, I'm not going to be that guy. We take me, I'm casting darkness. Now we meter hexes and 5-foot square diagonal movement. That's where you're like, Grant.
We can play that game if you want.
The Pathfinder stream is over there. Go get on that.
Right.
But no, so yeah. And the thing is, Like Gildan is a glutton for punishment. This is the closest thing that reminds him of his mother, essentially, the wise old woman of the waste. It's like, yes, Ling, punish me.
I'm kind of curious. I'm wondering if a bit of a flashback towards Gildan's being raised by Baba Yaga, because surely Baba Yaga did way worse than Ling. If you want a flashback, I always like flashbacks.
No, here's kind of the flashback, and it's I'm kind of reminded. Jim, do you know who Samoa Joe is?
I do not.
Samoa Joe is a professional wrestler that when he got trained, professional wrestling training is hard. They beat you and they break you. Samoa Joe grew up in a Samoan household, and he was like, I thought they were supposed to hurt us in training. So this is one of those things where Ling's doing this and he's seeking to punish me. He's clearly more powerful than me, but he is not more powerful than Baba Yaga. So this is one of those things where it's like, look, you might be stronger than me, but I'm tougher than you. And the wise woman's tougher than you. I might be an open book to you, but you're not gonna like reading this book. And it's gonna hurt you worse than it hurts anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
You get a sense of frustration at the end of this encounter that, you know how it is. He spent a lot of mental energy sifting through the the fire hydrant of memories and experiences that Gildan sort of unleashed at him. And towards the end of it, it feels as though he's getting a little sloppy. And you find yourself encased in this marble with guards around waiting for it to wear off. None of them. For the other, I guess, thing about being here with Lang and his servitors is they do not speak at all and seem to move, of course, in unison and like a hive mind. So there is there is a sense of frustration that you get from Lang as your meld into stone sort of wears off. And they begin to take you to your prison cell.
First thing I do when I get out, though, and I see Ling and there's this sense of frustration, is I'm casting bless on him and his companions, and I am blessing them and praising them in the name of the wise woman, Queen of the Waste, I say. And that's just like out of spite. It's like
passive aggressive.
Yes. I love this.
There is
Yoda was raised in a Baptist household.
Oh my.
Your blessing falls upon them, and you can feel the spite coming off of Lang as he breaks the spell and dismisses it. Gildan is taken away. He's bagged and tagged, and they place some sort of restraint on you that makes movement and manipulation of things with your hands difficult. It's like they appear to be like metal spheres that fit over your hands, and sort of like there's something on the inside that your hands can kind of like curl around and grab, but it completely prevents you from moving your hands, moving your fingers, that kind of thing. And they gag you and put a bag over your head as you are taken away somewhere within the pyramid.
Oh, good. Kind of wish I had that centipede right now, but he's off.
Skitter Step ain't gonna die for you either.
Everyone.
You know what? I don't need anyone to die for me, and I will save myself. I know how it is.
You know how it is. You're taken somewhere within the pyramid and left there. The room is cold. There doesn't appear to be any furnishings in it, and it is not particularly large.
I said, neither am I. So it's like I kind of sit around, and it's one of these things where So I assume there's no windows or any way to see out or anything like that?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So what Gildan's going to do is he's going to bite his hand, the back side of it, and create
You're still kind of like bound up. Like they put you in there still with the gag and still with the cuffs.
Okay, so I'm cuffed. Are the cuffs behind my back or in front of me?
They are behind your back. It is quite inconvenient.
Okay, so I'm
and uncomfortable.
Red.
Yeah. It's time to dislocate.
Now, what kind of cuffs are these? Is kind of the chain in between, or his arms bound like this?
They are. Yeah, they're behind you, and they encompass the whole hand, but are attached with like just a couple of links of something.
Okay.
Okay, well, you should be able to get that from them then.
All right. So,
Just gotta step further.
No, the one thing Gildan wants to do is essentially he's going to lay. How dark is it in here? Is it complete darkness?
There is some sort of light coming from what might be the door of some kind. It's a reddish, a harsh red light.
Okay. So what Gildan's going to do is he's going to lay flat on his back on the floor and kind of stare at the ceiling, and all he's going to do is focus his energy and his thoughts on imagining that this is the last light of the red spectrum of a setting sun kind of sitting, or the two suns, just kind of the red light, and just stare at the ceiling and do his best to imagine the stars when he was first left alone in the wastes. And he's going to essentially he spent his whole abandonment counting and numbering and naming the stars himself, to where he knows their exact location. If he's laying on his back and looking in the sky, even though he can't see them, he can feel where they are, and he's just going to begin numbering and naming the stars vocally in his cell until he falls asleep.
Okay. Writing something down real quick. Gildan falls asleep in his prison cell in the Black Pyramid of Leng and dreams strange dreams. While Gildan dreams, I'd like to return one last time to the Great Tree. A buzz of activity. At some point towards nightfall, the Drow arrived. And those who were in the Drow Embassy of Trade Town meet with them. But it is Sabata, Yazalin, and their retinue that are with them. They meet with Helen, and any one of you who wishes to be there will have a place, as well as some of the other wardens and lawgivers amongst the Fellowship who are active in the defense of this place. There are warlords and fighters from Trade Town who have organized themselves into 2 companies, as well as those members of the Fellowship who are more warlike and willing to fight. Not everyone in the Fellowship's a spellcaster. Not everyone in the Fellowship has combat prowess, but there are about 50 or so who are willing to provide magical support for what's to come. And they hold a great conference of war underneath the glittering green boughs of the Tree of Andris. I'm curious if anyone joins them and what your contributions to that great war council are.
Mur would definitely join with the intention of getting her and her little group of people into the most personally advantageous and safe places possible. She's decent at strategizing. She's a good logical thinker, and is pretty well known as an anti-mage person. Mm-hmm. So she would give her insight into her experience with the servitors and the strategies that they have used so far as her contribution.
Yeah, they're keenly interested in any encounters that you've had with them. they know themselves that the first time they attacked was in a great big mass, and the Fellowship actually dealt a pretty serious blow to them in that they killed a bunch of them, but were unable to follow up on that victory.
Yeah, I'll give them the idea that if you any fall, take their weapons and continue killing the others within. I do not believe they regenerate or go back to the pyramid to reform when killed in that manner.
Yeah, Myrrh is able to like confirm a lot of their suspicions and sort of theories that they have about it.
And they don't like fire.
They do not like fire, and they can teleport. And then there
Seeing it on the ground, just stab them with one of their weapons to verify. Just double tap.
Right. And they describe how now, since that initial encounter with them, that the servitors tend to attack in waves, but that they are like I said, they're keenly interested in any sort of encounters that you've had with them and how it went. The plan, roughly speaking, is for the Drow of Tekendar to make a feinting attack towards the pyramid, to draw them out and to tie them up in the open. The Fellowship will circle around one side and both attack Trade Town and sort of lend support to those Drow. And then the remaining group of Beltane Drow on their fast mounts will sweep around the back and attempt to attack. All told, it appears as though there are about 500 soldiers on the side of the Fellowship and the Drow. You all, given both your prowess and reputation, can have places of command and authority in that force if you wish. But I'll leave that up to you if it's something that your character's interested in.
Baloo would really like to destroy some dudes. He is motivated more so, though, in finding Gilda.
Okay.
So whatever kind of force that would be getting close.
There is a lot of talk at this council, and you'll forgive me for not doing like 8 NPC voices all at once.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right. But there's a lot of talk at this council of, what the ultimate aim is, how, what are they trying to do? The consensus seems to be that if it is possible to somehow disable or destroy the pyramid, that would be most preferable. But obviously driving this creature away and letting it know that it is too costly to mess with Trade Town would be an acceptable outcome as well. So there is talk of someone or some group attempting to force their way into the pyramid and at the very least see if there's a way to destroy it, or it's also full of prisoners from Trade Town. Yeah. So that is, the pyramid is ultimately the goal here.
Well, getting in close would be Baloo's thing, although, he can cast lightning all day from outside, but he'd like to get in real nice and close. Give it a smooch.
A smoocheroo.
Give it a smooch.
Give it a smooch. Okay, so let me understand you correctly, Baloo. Baloo is wanting to take the fight to the enemy, and you are looking to rescue Gildan. I'm assuming Baloo has an idea of where he thinks Gildan is. After
sensing that Skitterstep was coming from the general direction of the pyramid back to them, he assumes that either Gildan was taken away and Skitterstep was left, or that Gildan, gave up Skitterstep and went on his own, considering he was across the river. That's kind of his thought. If he was heading to Trade Town, he would have been there,
Yeah.
And Skitterstep would have been with him too.
Correct. All right. So you're assuming the pyramid there. How about everybody else?
I think Ellie would want to take the fight to them. Kind of like the same, on the same boat as Baloo. Because Gildan has made some questionable choices, but Ellie still likes him.
Yes. Ellie is true to her friends.
She's good at heart. She really is.
And then Myrrh and Icky.
Icky is not at the conference.
Okay.
Icky's not at the conference? Okay.
Icky is not at the conference. Icky is in the tent city gaining information from people about what the city is like right now, trying to map out routes that may not be accessible anymore now that there's an occupation there. Just trying to get as much information on where they can smuggle in people if they need to as possible. And also try to locate if there are safe houses that are still in operation in the city. So she's doing all the kind of reconnaissance work among the people that are refugees.
Gotcha.
Nice.
Okay. In that case, Icky sees, first off, there's the whole camp is a buzz in activity and anticipation for this fight. Weapons being forged and sharpened, people getting ready for it. All told, the refugee camp is about 1,000-ish people. So we're talking, plus the 250 drow. This place is crowded, and there's people everywhere getting ready for it. As far as you're able to discern, things in Trade Town are quiet, at least. No one who's been close enough or who has tried to scout has reported much activity, but there's the suspicion is that everyone's being placed under house arrest and taken into the pyramid as needed, starting with those who were known arcanists and the like. In terms of routes there, the servitors have fortified all of the roads that sort of crisscross through the canals and the tall grasses and the like. It's difficult to navigate off the path in this particular portion of the land. So they've kind of erected roadblocks in some of the villages between the tree and Trade Town that they're in the way. That's about what Icky's able to gather, although there's a lot of people in the camp who are like ready and itching and eager to fight back and sort of feel invigorated and encouraged that the drow have honored their alliance and have sent such a strong force to help.
Okay, she'll trade any information that she knows about smuggling routes as they were, and she'll kind of like encourage people to use guerrilla warfare when they can.
If you go around sharing your knowledge of all the smuggling routes in and around Trade Town, you can offer them a significant advantage when they come in. It's also suspected, and this is sort of a backtrack, it's also suspected at the War Council that because of your actions at the outpost, that the servitors don't know about the drow, that they have never seen them coming downriver, and so Sabata sort of floats that as potentially an asset here in the coming days.
We did that on purpose, Jim.
Mer plays it up like that, not like, like, oh, Gildan was the idiot who totally attacked it. Because Gildan's not here, so he can't refute it. So
yeah, Icky will share information as far as like letting the little people know that they don't like fire and to kill them with their own weapons. And if you pull the limbs far apart from them, then they can't regenerate fast enough. It's very vulgar, but it gives the little guy a fighting chance, which could be like the 5 seconds that a bigger group needs.
Icky finds herself at one point surrounded by a group of about 20 warriors or so who are just listening intensely to her as they just, hang on every word of your encounters with these servitors. And the crowd kind of grows, and you can hear them as it disperses, sort of talking and spreading the information amongst the warriors that are gathered there in camp. So Icky's sort of going through and making sure that soldiers are prepared and sharing her knowledge with them. How about Myrrh?
Myrrh, if Baloo and Ellie expressed their intent to enter the pyramid and get close to things, it's just gonna be like on the fly altering her own plans, like, gotta keep Ellie alive. she's very rare.
You're gonna have to come with us.
Endangered species. And so she's gonna suggest, like, oh yes, we can send so and so and so and so, like some of the stronger people.
Roy's is still here. He's like a souped up bugbear kind of fighter guy.
Yeah, well, like, you know, we get like, she's gonna try to create the most advantageous protective team and group to go in for herself, and maybe like one guy that's maybe a little higher rank than her that she wants gone, that if, you know, something happened in battle, oh well, it's just that stuff happens with servitors, man.
You're gonna pull a King David.
Yeah, there's that's an old school reference, man. There's that's old Sunday school reference.
She'll phrase it like, she'll kind of be like, you know, this would be a great chance for promotion for you if this goes out without a hitch. But her real purpose is like, if it does happen that way and he survives, it won't be too much of a disadvantage for her. But if she can take him out on the way,
Myrrh actually discovers during all this that most of the ranking wardens who were in Trade Town, like above you, they stayed and were part of that initial wave that was either captured or slain. You're not sure if there is anyone who was normally stationed at Trade Town who is above you anymore.
Oh, well, that's good news then. Then yeah, she'll just try to make the most advantageous team possible.
Okay.
And be like, and I will provide, you know, I'm not very good in melee with stabbing things, but I will provide support with my bow. I will hang in the back of the group, you know, provide healing if I need to, and you know, I'll be the, like, she'll be in the archer group. That's yeah.
An archer group. So yes, as night cast its velvety blanket over the land, and
those try to get Mikhail. I want to get him in the group.
We can take Roy's and Mikhail and this other guy, that half ogre, and night falls over the land as everyone makes and begins to make their preparations, whether personal or interpersonal. Gildan in his cell, casting his mind to other planes, and those at the Tree of Andris preparing for the fight ahead. I think now is as good a time as any to close out for tonight. The party is getting ready for some big action here in the next day, and we will have to see what that's like next week. So here we are. Excellent session. Great to hang out with you guys and play some D&D. Chat, you guys are awesome, and we really appreciate everything. How about we go around to our players and get a feel for where their head's at and where we can find them online. Josh, you want to start us off?
I do, Jim. I am online, mostly on Twitter, at beardforcharity.com. And I do the arts. I'm working on some big projects right now. They're going to go boom soon. After they go boom, look me up. I can draw you whatever. I can draw your character. I can draw your grandma. I can draw your dog, whatever. Having a fun time with it. And in the meantime, catch me here on Thursdays. And peace, love, and prosperity.
Well, there you go. Anna.
Hello, I had a great time. This is like my favorite game on Thursdays. Not like, I don't know.
Thank you. It's everybody. It's team effort.
So emotional. And I love playing Ellie. She's just so oblivious and she's so sweet. And I don't know. I like playing barbarians that are different than what usual barbarians are. So it's nice. I don't know. It's different, but it's nice.
Good.
But yeah, you guys can find me online places on Twitch as Cyborg Pizza, on Twitter and Instagram as Anabe Photo. I'm also on Encounter Roleplay Thursday mornings, playing City of Mist.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm also part of Wonder Quest. It's a Dungeons and Dragons 5e actual play all-female podcast. And we just released our last episode for Act 1 this Wednesday. And I play Lily Moon on there, so check it out. Another barbarian that's a badass.
Yay!
He's more of a badass than maybe Ellie, but
Yay!
hopefully not for too long, as Ellie will continue to grow in power.
Oh, yeah.
That's great. TK, how are you?
Hey, it's me. I'm doing well. Having a good time talking, taking care of my little soft-skinned broodling. Hoping she doesn't get killed by her new friends. Because she's so trusting and she's so sweet and she believes in everybody. And Nikki's just like, I don't know why, but I don't want you to die yet. Everybody dies, but I prefer if it weren't like tomorrow. Right. She also is like really hardcore wanting to keep her out of the hands of the Fellowship because she doesn't trust these people. They're like majority goblins and orcs. Ooh,
yeah.
No.
Nope.
Can't hang out with them. I write spooky stories on the internet. You can find me on Twitter with spooky stories. You can find my website that's got like a ton of free spooky stories on it. tkjwrites.com. And pretty soon you're gonna find me on the D&D channel on Sunday nights. Yeah. Playing Hell's Bells.
Woo!
It's gonna be fun as
Excited
heck.
about that.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, that looks really fun. Congrats, and looking forward to checking that out on Sundays. Lindy, how you doing?
I'm doing super spiffy, Jim. This was a blast. I had fun tonight's session. It was a lot of information, a lot of kind of just prepping, kind of just seeing how our characters are feeling about the situation right now, which I liked a lot. I always love when Icky and Mer talk because it's one of the most awkward things ever. But each time I talk, they'll understand like a little bit more about each other. And one day the puzzle pieces are just going to click and they're going to be like, I get you. And it's just a slow build up towards that day. And Ellie is just our sweet little summer child. And I love her. And again, Gildon, I love Gildon. Mer.
Someone feeling guilty there, Lindy?
No, I'm not feeling guilty. I just want you to know that I like Gildon.
R.I.P. Gildon, the size queen.
Gildon the size.
Yeah, it's so hard to be in character as Mer sometimes.
This is the screenshot right here.
She hates so many people, but she's like, yes, you're great. But I had so much fun. I can't wait for next week to see how this raid on the pyramid's gonna go. I'm sure it's gonna be awesome.
I'm sure it's gonna be perfect.
Everything's gonna be fine. I'm kind of hoping a bunch of Fellowship leaders are just on life support. Mer can go, oops, what's that plug I pulled out? Oh, no one saw anything. But you can find me online at Laugh Love Lindy on the Twitches and the Twitter. You can find me here every Thursday night for the awesomeness that is Land Between Two Rivers. Fridays, tomorrow afternoon, you can find me on Grimjack21502's channel for Firefly RPG. It's absolutely amazing, very story driven. I love it so much. Every other Saturday, Power Score RPG for D&D, and then like some Saturdays in the next month, there's going to be stuff on Scraticus's channels, Pirates of Paradise. We're taking a hiatus from RPGN, but still, keep in mind those super awesome clips because, we got to do something when we come back mid-July. Oh, yeah. Sunday evenings, again, Grimjack21502's channel for Pulp Cthulhu. Project Athena, we're in Berlin. It's super cool, 1933. Tuesdays, Tomes and Tentacles podcast. We will have more episodes released soon. We just have to record some more. Tuesday afternoons on the Greyhawk channel, I am DMing Vecna Lives. It's really exciting, higher level adventure. And Vecna. A few hours after that, I'm DMing on my channel, Out of the Abyss. Then Wednesdays, Encounter Roleplay, pretty much all day for Call of Cthulhu in the afternoon. And then in the evening, there is Star Wars Rise of the Dark Side, Star Wars RPG. So that's me. I love RPGs, and I can't say no to games. I'm an addict, and I love it.
I'm glad that you have that kind of time, Lindy. Grant, how are
What's sleep?
What's time and sleep? Grant, how are you?
Hi, everybody. I'm doing great. I've really missed playing with you guys. It's kind of stunk having pneumonia for like so many months, but I'm feeling much better. Having a week off to just kind of rest has been extremely helpful. Yeah, and I just kind of came up with the idea. It's kind of like originally, but now Gildon's more powerful, and I have more of an idea of who he is as far as his character's voice. And yeah, it's like I told Jim, I was like, he's going to go in the pyramid and he's going to look the devil in the eye and laugh at his face, and it may cost him, but I think fictionally both Ling and Gildon are going to attempt to use each other's powers to their own benefits. You can find me on Twitter at WisePapaGrant. You can find me on Twitch at Grant R. Ellis. I'm on a lot of shows. Just go to my Twitter and it will have my schedule there. Most importantly as well, this week I'm at Origins Game Fair. You see there's like game convention going on. If you want, I'm running games for Kobold Press here all week. I've had 7 players so far. All 7 of the players have been knocked unconscious, making death saving throws. 2 died officially. So it's a lethal adventure. I'm actually running a tournament module that Kobold Press designed for game conventions. That's why it's so lethal. And even though the players died, or the characters died, sorry, there's going to be people that's like, players. You killed the players! Even though the characters died, I made devil's bargains with them where it's like, well, if your alignment becomes lawful evil and you go back into the world with this secret agenda I'm going to hand you that I've written down, you can keep playing. And like they take it and they're like, cool, now I'm a villain, but nobody knows. Everyone loves that. I'm going to be running 20 games for charity between June 23rd and July 3rd for Safe House Nevada, which is an organization that provides assistance for victims of domestic violence and abuse. This is a cause that is very near and dear to my heart as a assault survivor myself, and someone who lives with PTSD and agoraphobia. So it's very important to provide the help and charity when we can. So I will be streaming a whole lot of games. My goal is to raise $1,000. I'm going to be running 20 games for over 100 people during this time. And it should be super fun. And I'm also going to be launching a 3-channel Invisible Sun series called Across the Actuality. It looks like we're going to, nothing is official yet, but I know Money Cook Games is highly interested in this, and I am actively in conversations with their team. There's going to be opportunities for you community members to win a copy of Invisible Sun by entering a raffle, and as soon as that raffle hits $243, we buy a copy, we raffle it off to a member of the community. It provides accessibility and entry into a game that has a kind of high price point to enter. It's actually lower than Dungeons & Dragons if you buy the 3 core books, the DM screen, a set of dice. It's about the same, and the spell cards. So it's less expensive than that, but it's still an expensive entry point. It's a very deluxe game. It's all about surreal fantasy, so look for that to come. We're going to have some awesome players.
That's really awesome. I think I'm going to be in one of those charity games, like the one on the 23rd.
Ditto.
Perhaps.
Ditto.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we'll see you guys there. Of course, we are 10 days out from WebDM's first charity game. That is featured by Emma, who is our director of communications. She handles a lot of our social media, and you can see her on Tuesday nights on Starboard Bound. She is running, she is running for a group of awesome players for Great Charity Girls Empowerment Network. So come see Satine Phoenix, Lisa Chen of the Adventurous League, Sid Shields from Encounter RP, and one of my best friends and one of the people who I have played D&D with the longest, Audie, who is another one of our friends who will round out the cast. And you guys check that out, and then you guys can like head over and watch Hell's Bells or something if that's on afterwards. So it sounds like a great Sunday. Otherwise, I am of course Jim Davis, the other half of WebDM, and you can find me on WebDM Twitch here on Thursdays. You can check us out on Tuesdays for Starward Bound. We of course have our YouTube channels, WebDM and WebDM Plays, where we are, I think, maybe one episode behind on getting up the episodes for you guys to watch later of Starward Bound and Land Between Two Rivers. I'm also on Encounter RP on Wednesdays, running some very tense and grim dark Warhammer, which you should come check out and mess with the players on. So everyone out there, we really appreciate you guys coming out. Let's have one more shout out to our sponsor, Tabletop Loot. Check them out for all your dice that you need, mugs, t-shirts, all that good stuff, and show them some love because they have shown us some love. And really appreciate you guys coming out here and watching, and we will see you guys next week. Bye.